Il est né à Rio de Janeiro, au Brésil, élevé à Londres et il vit aujourd'hui à Montréal, au Québec. Amon Tobin est un magicien, un tourneur de table, un faiseur de sons. Entre drum and bass, jazz, hip-hop, la musique d'Amon Tobin revivifie l'électro. Il y insuffle la couleur, l'harmonie, le relief. Ces derniers mois, Amon Tobin a décidé de ne plus seulement coller la musique des autres pour aller chercher la sienne. Il a enregistré lui-même les basses sonores de son nouvel album, Foley Room. Alors, aujourd'hui, avec Caravan, revisitez la passion avec ce nouveau citoyen du monde, Amon Tobin.
People always said that that my records sound like me, you know, like I have a sound, apparently. And so I was always kind of fascinated by that, considering that my music's all made from other people's stuff. So I was interested to see maybe like what, if I collected the sounds myself, would it still sound like me? Or, you know, do I have a sound that's based on my source material, or is my input really what makes it sound like it does? And also I just wanted to try and learn a bit about, you know, recording and just have fun and do something that would excite me, you know, because I guess I've been making tunes for like 10 years or something, and it's not that I got bored. In fact, I think I'd go back to records and back to sampling. But I needed to do something that I hadn't tried before, even if it's not a new thing for anybody else. For me, it was a new thing, so it gave me a lot of, it just motivated me. It's a bit of a mystery to me, because I've always got an idea of what I want it to sound like, and it almost never quite gets there. So, you know, I guess it's a little bit like the way you see yourself. You probably see yourself a bit differently to how other people see you, you know. And it's the same with the music. I have an idea of what I'd like it to be, but I don't really know if that's what other people hear. Our Foley Room is where they record sound effects for movies. So it's where maybe, you know, you have a Foley artist who's the guy with the, you know, the coconut shells and the chains and steel-capped shoes, and he makes all the sound effects for the movies. I'm trying to use sounds that sort of, they signify the future to me, you know. I'm always trying to make like futuristic sounding music, because I sort of resist the how can I explain that? It's like, because so much of the material I use comes from the past, I'm quite sort of sensitive to not making music that is just nostalgic and that just relies on your sort of, your familiarity with something that's comfortable for it to be all right, you know. I want it to be made with things from the past, but moving forward. So I've got an idea of the future, which is probably different to other people's, but yeah, so I'll gravitate towards sounds that sort of have that sort of significance. some sort of percussion sounds that would have another layer of texture on them. And what we did was we took various sort of like lentils and chickpeas and stuff and put them on drum skins and just tried to get different kinds of sounds out of the percussion instruments. To go to the radar site, I had, again, I was thinking of like futuristic sounds and I don't know why, but a radar for me sort of signifies, you know, the search for outer space or creatures in outer space or something. So anyway, I thought it would be appropriate to go and record machinery moving anyway, just to see if it made anything, if it did anything interesting. And to be completely honest, we didn't get very good sounds from the radar. It looked better than it sounded, actually. But it was fun, you know, it was fun to do it. It's a labour of love, I'm sure you can understand that, you know. It's, I don't really look at it like work at all. It's just I have an excuse to do something time-consuming that I enjoy, really, you know. So, yeah, we did a lot of different things, and we spent a long time on it. You know, me and my sound man Vid, we travelled all over the place trying to find different source material, and it did take a long time, but it was a bit of an adventure, really. I know that, like, traditionally, you know, people look for special spaces, like particular rooms that have a particular sound or a particular environment that has a character that they're after. And I had a bit of a different approach because I wanted as much flexibility as possible in the arrangement stage, you know, of making the songs, to decide whether or not I wanted, you know, that snare drum to be in a hall, or if I wanted it to be very dry. So to try and give myself as much room for maneuver as possible, I recorded everything in a very dead space with no atmosphere and no ambience at all. And then afterwards, with convolution reverbs, this sort of thing, I was able to place the sounds in different environments if I needed to, but I'd be able to at least have that option. Yeah, it seems well thought out, but actually it was kind of improvised, a lot of it. You know, I did have some ideas. I had some things I definitely wanted to do. Mainly, I was trying to make new sounds out of layers of different existing sounds. So I always break down the noises that I like into different ranges of frequency and texture. And what I was trying to do was to see if I could get these different ranges of frequency and texture from different sources, put them together, and try and make the sound that I wanted. So, for instance, if I want to make a bass sound that has a lot of character, I could maybe take the sub-frequencies from one area, and I could take the higher frequencies of the sound from another area, and just make lots of layers, and then, you know, try and make a sort of coherent sound that has all the different attributes that I like, but try and make that sound out of different bits, I guess. I don't know if the image is that important or not. I mean, I guess it's important. The image you project is important probably from a marketing point of view, but I'm so sort of busy thinking about the tracks and all of that it's not such a priority, you know. I find that sound is such a sort of endless resource that I don't know if I'd ever live that long, you know, to start looking at other medium as well. I've still got so much to learn about sound and so much to explore that it'd be great. There's loads of things I'd like to find out more about, but I'm still I feel like I'm still starting really with sound. I grew up listening to my mum and dad's records like everybody else, and my dad was a big Bob Dylan fan. They listened to things like the Stones and Jimi Hendrix, and I still love all that stuff. In fact, I'm rediscovering a lot of the Beatles now because I kind of blotted the Beatles out because it was such a big presence, right, in music that I kind of. And actually, I'm discovering a lot of things now that are kind of deemed as classics, but I just never listened to them. And I always kind of went for different things, and now I'm discovering, I guess, more well-known things for the first time, things like Led Zeppelin, you know, I'm really listening to a lot now, and, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, in a taxi the other day, I was listening to one of their albums, I think, for the first time. So, you know, but yeah, I grew up listening to, I guess, that kind of music, Brazilian music too. When I was a teenager, I was really into hip hop, blues as well, but hip hop mainly. And then I listened to a bit of jazz because blues kind of, you know, got me into jazz a little bit, and then drum and bass, which I've been a big fan of ever since. I started making music when I discovered the sampler, because up until then it was just for fun. I was playing instruments, like jamming in bands, but I never really took it that seriously. It was just for fun. But yeah, when I found the sampler, like I was saying before, it made sense to me. For the first